Good morning, Ventura. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Fun with HR, the show where we talk about what's going on in town and sprinkle in some HR.
Good morning, Rosandra. How you doing today?
Good. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing excellent. So, what do we have going on this week?
Oh, my goodness. What don't we have going on this week? But my biggest one happens to be working interviews.
Working interviews.
Yeah, we always think about what do people do in the trades or in the situations where you don't have an office, but you need to demonstrate the skill set.
Exactly. That's something that a lot of employers in those industries do, but could sometimes come back and backfire on you.
So how long is too long for an interview, do you think?
Too long?
Yeah.
Oh, probably a couple hours.
Right, because you should be able to demonstrate your skill set relatively quick, and you should also be able to know whether somebody is being honest about their skill set relatively quick, right?
Well, yeah, I would think so. I mean, let's take a carpenter. You give a guy a hammer, and you can pretty much tell by the way he picks up the hammer whether he knows what he's doing, right?
Yes.
And then the chef, you give him a knife, and you give him a carrot and go slice this up, and you should know pretty quick whether they have knife skills or not.
Yes.
So what brings up the working interview topic this morning?
Well, it's just because, of course, as human resources consultants, I generally get to help a lot with some of the things that go really wrong. And this week I got called in at the last moment for a DOL hearing on a working interview that went relatively long.
Well, how long is relatively long?
Well, the person's claiming they were there definitely over 2 hours.
Over 2 hours? Oh, yeah, that could be a problem.
Yeah, so I thought, I'm wondering how many other people are running into this type of obstacle where they don't know what they don't know.
So that they were claiming they were on the working interview for over 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're saying they didn't get paid is what the claim is.
Oh, yeah, the claim came in on a lot of things. And this is where, for me, it's amazing that this is still going on. But applications need to be filled out. You need to make sure that that person has an actual time card, even if it's a working interview, especially because it's a good time set. And, of course, the next thing is working interview does have the word work in there. So you want to make sure that they get paid for that amount of time.
Which means you also need to have your W-4, your DE-4, your I-9 all completed before they start that.
Well, sure, because then the person could always claim you refused to pay them. And now it's not just 2 hours, but now it's 18 hours. They worked 18 hours. I'm making that up, of course. But I'm saying it's their word against yours. And so I thought for any small employer, one of these claims could certainly make it so that, it could be quite costly.
It can be. And this is something that happens in the trades a lot, culinary, carpentry, any kind of
Even
skilled...
hairstylists.
Yeah, any kind of skilled labor. This happens a lot. But just be safe and make sure you have the proper paperwork filled out. And make sure you pay them not by cash, but through payroll.
Absolutely.
Because
Well,
then you have documentation.
Absolutely. It's all about documentation. And it was brought to my attention that with all the government programs out there, we had PPP in the past, that certainly you want to make sure that you could track every dollar that was spent. So obviously, it's always a good idea. But with anybody that has some of these other programs or is participating in them, you definitely want to have that backup. So that's what was the major thing. The other thing that came up, and it always comes up, is do I really have to take a 30-minute lunch break? Can it just be 10 minutes? I can eat in like 15. And what is the answer?
The answer is no. And you cannot have your lunch at your desk, which is another thing we see quite a bit. But California is very, very strict. They say it has to be 30 minutes. So if the time on the time card is not a minimum of 30 minutes, then the employer's looking at a mealtime penalty, which if you do not pay that mealtime penalty and the employee goes to the state, you will be paying that plus penalties. One of the things we do when we do orientation for our clients, we always say, Your lunch period is the one time where it's okay if you clock in a minute or two late from your lunch, because we'd rather you be 31 or 32 minutes than 29.
Absolutely. So, this is just what we do. And it's interesting that we always start the show off with this, because one of the things that I've had asked is, we're featuring a lot of people around town, but it's fun with HR, and they wanted to know a little bit more about the HR firm. So what do you think? We should talk a little bit about us and then go into the show?
Well, before we talk about us, I want to get Spence on real quick here, because Spence is doing another crazy physical challenge for the month of October. And you want to tell us a little bit about that, Spence?
Yes, it is Run Walktober. So what we're doing is, me and a few other folks are going to run. I'm going to do 3 miles a day. And yes, I already missed yesterday because it was my son's birthday. Much like the push-up challenge, this is going to be a little more work intensive because I'm slow. And I'm going to have to do 3 miles. So it's going to be a run walk, and I hope to get in 100 miles total. So obviously in a couple of days, I'm going to have to go a little further. And it's to support the city center and what they're doing, what they're working on to take the homeless people off the streets. We know that 80% of the homeless families are homeless women with children. They've been abandoned, so they need help. They get 2 years of services from the city center, and 6% are under 5 years old. I believe it was 6,900 and some kids going to school are homeless in this county alone. So the city center does the work. I'm going to do the walk, and I'm going to walk 6 miles today. If you want to join me at Kimball Park, I'll be there.
Okay.
Nice.
Kimball
Doing
Park,
loops.
6 miles is going to be like about
4 laps, I think maybe 5.
4.
No.
It's
I
about a
thought
mile
it was.
and a quarter, isn't it?
I thought it was like half a mile of.
Oh no,
around.
Kimball on the cement is at least a mile. They have mile.
It's
They have
mile?
quarter mile markers, and
Okay.
there's a separation between. Yeah, so it's at least a mile.
Okay, so probably
It's a
about
mile.
6
So you mean to
laps.
tell me I've been walking more than I really needed to? 'Cause
Yes.
I've been thinking it's a whole loop.
Just look for those mile markers. Steve
So I've
Dahl
al-
has one of them.
So I've already done, well, not
We're-
right
we're
now,
not that
not
smart,
recently,
yeah.
yeah.
You've
Oh
already
my-
maxed out.
I've
see?
already maxed out and I didn't
But-
even know it.
I was
Good to
talking.
go.
I was talking to Spence earlier before the show started, and most people, when they say they're going to do a step thing or they're going to track their miles, they count the time going to the bathroom and back or to the kitchen and back. Spence is not going to do that. He's actually going to only count the miles where he's
Impressive.
working out. That's some dedication there.
Well, on our block we have a lot of kids, and even I hope mom and dad aren't hearing this, but dad walks quite a bit, and I always wonder if he gives his phone to the kids, because sometimes he comes back and he's like, look, I've done a quarter mile already. And I'm like, did you really? But I know he does, because he is very good about walking and being healthy. But you're right. We have seen people that kind of put it on the dog, right? Let the dog do the work.
And there's 2 great apps. One's called Strava, and one is an Under Armour app. And they will literally, when you're done, they show your path. They show the route you took. It gives you exertion, elevation changes. So if you go to a place like Harmon Canyon, you can see your ups and downs and all arounds. It's kind of fun, actually. You can get caught up in it.
So you said something that triggered something that I need to tell you. We are going to have Sherry Witt from the Jeff Galloway Run Walk Club here in a couple of weeks. So if you have any questions specifically about how to do this without hurting yourself, not just for October, but rather for the rest of the year, because I think we're all in the same thing, right? We're going to lose weight, we're going to get healthy, but there's no action, there's no follow through. And let me tell you, Sherry's definitely going to keep you accountable, which is what we all need.
Well, yeah, and the other thing Spence said, which is an HR dream, he's going to use his app to document. Let me say that again. Document his miles. So if anybody questions him, you go, hey, look at this. And
That's
he can show
right.
you all the miles he
That's
did.
right.
So.
My miles will be in outer space in that cloud, so you can find out.
Document.
And Facebook apps, you can go to Facebook, so immediately people see how slow or fast you are. And Galloway's a legend. He is a great run walker, and he has helped people. I guarantee you, everybody in this room, if you did his program, for
We have.
90 days, you can complete a 26-mile marathon.
Well, we haven't
now,
done
you
that
might do it
program.
in 5.5 hours, but you will complete 26 miles, and the more you do it, the better you'll get.
But his philosophy is have fun while doing it. So it doesn't matter about the time. It's about doing it safely, having fun, and looking forward to the next run.
It's like the great movie Cars, where they said driving used to be about having a good time. Now it's about making good time.
Yeah.
And we got to get back to the having.
Exactly. So Sherry's a hoot, so you're going to love having her here.
Well, I know Sherry is an inspiration because she started out not a runner at all. And I don't even think now she'd call herself a runner, but she had never done a marathon.
Don't spoil what we're going to have her tell us.
Okay, I won't spoil it. But her marathon count is just
It's impressive.
amazing.
Impressive.
Amazing.
Impressive.
Well, I can't wait. And there's a lot of ways to do it. We had a guy that came to another store where I work. He had lost 100 pounds and did a half marathon in 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is miraculous considering
Wow.
Yeah.
he went from like 300 to 200 pounds. So
It's
it can be
doable
done.
because you're just walking and you're kind of galloping and eventually get to running. So it's great. I actually wanted to let you know, Spence, that Jeff and I are going to try and do this with you. And I say try because, of course, we the intention is there. Life sometimes will get in the way, but even if we're running at 10 o'clock at night, we're going to definitely try and do the 3.
Yoda's not happy.
I don't know who that is.
Yoda said there is no try.
Who is that?
Yeah.
Star Wars. It's a movie. They made like 18 of them, and they made like 37 billion.
A little green guy.
Never seen him. Is that the guy with the black PJs?
No.
No.
He's a little green creature that says there is no try, only do.
Yeah, still don't know who that is.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's right.
I know. I hear the
Everybody's
peanut
laughing
gallery.
at you.
Sorry, I went roller skating instead of going to the movies to see Star Wars. I still think I did the better thing. My opinion.
I don't know.
Oh,
there he
what
is.
is that?
That's Baby
That's
Yoda.
Yoda.
Oh, I'm being shown Baby Yoda. Oh, not cute. Not cute, but okay.
So we our
Now
goal,
that I've alienated half the audience.
the goal for October is to log 93 miles.
93
and
miles.
We will emulate Spence, and
Yes.
it's going to be through an app that
Yes.
we're going to count only those miles that are logged on the app,
Absolutely.
and we're going to go for it.
Yes.
Okay, so the HR firm.
Yes.
Why do people typically call the HR firm?
That's a really great question because in the past it was because they were curious. What is HR consulting? I have accounting. I have a bookkeeper. They kind of do that. And no disrespect to anyone in either one of those industries, but human resources is not either of those industries. And you really have to have the knowledge and you have to stay in your own lane so that we can all work together. So the reason why people come to the HR firm now is because they realize that they need a little bit more in-depth knowledge, and it's not just what's on the internet. I've been asked, well, why should we come to you when I could just look for it on the internet? And I said, awesome. Well, you could also know how to remove your tonsils, but you're not doing that on your own, are you? So kind of the same thing.
Kinda. And
Kinda.
then also when you do a Google search, may not be the most current information that comes up.
No, because everything lives on the internet. So when people come to us, it's generally because they want help. And that's really what we're there for. We're there to be of service. So we want to help. And one of the things that I've become notorious for is I don't look at it as its bottom line action, but rather I just want to help. I want to make sure that the people in my community are not having to have sleepless nights wondering, did I do that right? Did I not? What's going to happen? I would much rather people call me and talk to me than wonder whether or not they can afford me. So that's generally how it's happening.
And the other thing that I think you're really good at is you're only as involved as your client wants you to be. Because, we know being a business owner, you're very stressed, and we don't want to add more stress than we need to.
Well, a lot of people seem to think that we're going to take over, and that's not it at all. It's your business, your decisions, but you can't say you didn't know once we've made you aware of what the law, the compliance section, all of that. You just can't say that. So when people start to work with us, it's because they're ready. They're ready for a change. They've done it their way, and it may not have worked, so now they're ready to do it not my way, but the way. This is what the state wants you to do.
So the HR firm's 10 years old, going almost 11.
Uh-huh.
What's the single biggest thing you find that companies are not compliant with?
Time cards.
Time cards.
Time cards. So in the HR boot camp, which I generally give at least twice a year, I like to have this whole section on just time cards, and I have titled that section as time cards. They're your best friends, and they really are, because whenever there's an audit, whether it's EDD, DOL, or anything like that, the first thing that they're going to ask is, where's your documentation? Where are your time cards? Because really, when you think about it, those paychecks, those pay stubs, that is not the end-all and be-all. Your time cards are, because that's what triggers payment, that's what triggers benefits, that triggers everything. So you really want that.
Hence, that's why the person that you were talking to about the working interview is in such hot water now, because they do not have a time card for that
Right.
working interview, and it's
Right.
their word against the employee.
Right.
And the one thing that I hope everybody knows is that California is a very employee-friendly state.
Yes.
And they generally tend to side with the employee when there's lack of documentation.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what I want people to know about us is, at first, when I launched the company, people thought I was crazy. I think people still think I'm crazy, but it's a matter of, it's a need. It's definitely a need. And I'm really proud that we've been able to help the companies that wouldn't otherwise have access to someone like us or to the information, and we walk them through that. So I have always said we're kind of like our very own generator of business. You know, we keep our communities going because we make sure that they can grow. And that's one thing that makes me very proud of the HR firm.
We help add to their bottom line, because instead of spending it on EDD or DOL fines, they could just save that money and increase their profit margins.
Yes.
So we have a really great show today. We started the format a little bit different today because we normally don't spend so much time on HR. But we're going to have Stephanie Caldwell and Ashley Pope here from the Ventura Chamber.
Ashley's on again.
Ashley's on again.
Mm-hmm.
She's finding a way to get in here every week, it seems.
It's just what people do when they're my BFF.
Okay, but I heard somebody else claim that title this week.
Don't tell her.
I forgot Ashley's here. We won't talk about that.
She's going to want names, social security numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, all that. No.
We won't give that. And we also have Pat Pothier in today with Pothier Hypnotherapy. And Pat's going to be here to talk about a program that I'm really passionate about, which is the Real Men Wear Pink campaign for the American Cancer Society. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. Fun with HR is brought to you by the HR firm. You can reach them at 805-835-FIRM. That's 805-835-3476. Because if you have employees, you have issues.
Every business owner knows employees can be your biggest asset and your biggest liability. That's why you need to know for sure that your company is compliant with today's ever-changing laws. The HR firm is the premier human resource consulting firm in Ventura County, specializing in working with small to mid-sized companies. The HR firm provides everything you need to keep your company compliant, from handbooks to policies and procedures to workers' compensation claim management. We've got you covered. They offer a complimentary 1-hour consultation for new clients. As your local HR consultant, they're just a phone call away. For more information, contact them at info@thehrfirm.com or at 805-835-3476. Because if you have employees, you have issues. Hey employers, are you tired of spending your valuable time posting jobs on the job boards? Are you tired of looking through resumes to find that one diamond in the rough? Your time is way too valuable, so let the professionals at Atharva Workforce find that diamond in the rough for you. Spend more time on your business and less time looking for those employees. Call Atharva Workforce at 805-826-0033.
So, welcome back to another fun-filled episode. now that I've been somewhat schooled on the music of Star Wars, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, Jeff, last week's question was, where's your favorite date night destination? Tell me, what did we get?
Well, the results again were very interesting because we had a tie.
A three-way tie?
A three-way tie for first place. And they were a Main Street dinner at any restaurant on Main Street and then a movie. Aloha Steakhouse on the beach. Yeah, okay. Aloha Steakhouse on the beach. That works for me. And Cafe Zac.
Oh, I love Cafe Zac.
Yeah, we love Cafe Zac.
We love Main Street dinner locations too.
Yeah.
And Aloha Steakhouse. I mean, I think, did you answer this or
I did not answer this.
Okay.
I know one of the respondents is two of the respondents are in this room right now.
Uh-huh. 2.
So
what's this week's question?
This week's question is going to be rather controversial, and I hope we get a lot of action on this one. Pumpkin spice latte. Love it or hate it, and why? That I hope a lot of people get involved with this one.
Don't tell them how you feel.
I'm not going to tell them how I feel. I just hope we get a lot of responses.
Don't tell them how you feel about the yucky thing. It's okay.
Wow.
I'm going to answer.
Let's not state the obvious.
No,
here.
I'm going to go online and answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You could answer this one.
Okay.
So our first guest today is Stephanie Caldwell, and along with her came Ashley Pope, the membership director at the chamber. Oh, I almost changed her title.
Do you not know who my BFF is?
I know Ashley. I know Ashley very well.
Right, she's just Ashley, right?
And
like
Ashley
Cher.
is like
Madonna. Just Ashley.
somehow I have a feeling she's going to end up in here every week.
Oh my goodness.
I hope so.
But Stephanie is the CEO at the Ventura Chamber of Commerce, and we're going to start out today. I want everybody to get to know a little bit more about you. I think I know a lot about you, but I know I don't know everything about you. But how did you end up coming to the Ventura Chamber of Commerce?
So that's an interesting story. I was actually referred by a friend of mine to one of the board members of the chamber who was serving as the interim CEO. And we made contact, and I was happy in my job up in San Jose. I worked at the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber for about 10 and a half years. And he said, come on, don't you want to come to Ventura? And I had ties to Ventura, some family ties, actually in Ojai. But we had spent a lot of time down here, and I thought, let's see how it goes. And with every contact I had with the community, I fell more and more in love. And that was nearly 6 years ago, and I couldn't be happier being here.
Wow, 6 years already.
Yeah.
In full disclosure, I was on the panel that
Yes.
interviewed Stephanie for this job. And
One of the hiring managers.
I got to tell you, it was going through my mind the whole time we were talking to you. Here's Stephanie coming from a chamber that has like Microsoft, all these big Silicon Valley companies as part of her chamber. Why in the world would you want to be in Ventura?
Why not?
Where we are a lot of just really small businesses. I mean, that's the bulk of the Ventura Chamber. And that's what I love about the chamber is small businesses working together to, pull our resources so that we could be more effective and do good jobs with each other. But, okay, so it was family that drove you.
No, actually, it was just I really fell in love with the community, and I had 3 different interviews with the chamber, and each one I was more and more convinced that this was the right space for me.
Awesome.
So since you've been here 6 years, can you share with us some of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, actually, there's been quite a few. If you think back on the last 6 years, obviously the Thomas Fire was a huge challenge for our business community. And then most recently, obviously, the pandemic. So those are always, especially now, we're not through the pandemic. We're still working on what does the new normal look like. We know that things have changed, and we don't know exactly what will, happen in the future. But I'm always impressed and amazed at our business community, at the resiliency and the strength that they have. and the effort that they put forward to not only survive but thrive. And we saw that over and over during especially the early months of the pandemic, with different businesses pivoting and offering services and products that were there to serve the community and help in ways that they would never have done before.
So go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Well, how did membership do during the pandemic? Did we lose? Did we gain? Did we stay about the same?
So it's interesting, membership was tough during the pandemic. We had really no real programs going on as far as events, but what we did was pivoted very quickly to be providing information and resources for our members. We also worked with our members because we knew many of them were shut down completely. They had no revenues coming in. We provided them access to get grants and loans and all of those things that kept them afloat, but we didn't want to be an additional burden for them. So we froze a lot of those memberships so that they could focus on surviving and making sure that they had a business at the end of this. I never want someone to have to make that tough decision. Do I pay my employees, and do I, keep my lights on, and do I pay my rent, or do I pay my chamber bill? Obviously, that's an easy choice. But we do feel that we offered a lot during the pandemic. So yes, we lost some members. Some went out of business. Some moved out of the area, which we never want to see. But I think even more exciting to us at the Chamber was the new businesses that were born out of the pandemic. You look at whenever there are great challenges, opportunity rises. And there were so many businesses that just blossomed out of that pandemic. And I'm not going to go so far as to say our business community is better today than it was pre-pandemic. I think we're still working through some of those challenges, but there are really great sparks of hope of different businesses that have started. And we actually, during the pandemic, Ashley will probably talk a little bit about this, but we did a lot of ribbon cuttings. We couldn't do them in person, but we were doing them on Facebook Live. And what we found was the engagement was incredible, because if you have a business here in Ventura, you may have family that lives elsewhere. You may have even clients that are out of the area and they couldn't come and see it. It was a way for them to engage. So we saw a lot of positive things as well.
One of the things that you didn't mention that you did during the pandemic was the virtual connection that you had going. And I, for one, just, got to commend Ashley and Josh for putting that together, and for you, Stephanie, for allowing them to work on that, because I thought that was a terrific program that kept a lot of our businesses connected and knowing what each other was doing and having people that we could talk to about what was going on. So.
And Jeff, since you were very involved in those, you saw the progression and how that really evolved. At first, when we offered that, we were doing it weekly because people needed that connection point. What's happening? What do I need to know today? And it was much less about let me promote my business and more about, hey, I have this question, can you help me? Or I have this to offer, and making those kinds of connections. And then as it evolved, it definitely turned more into that, connecting on a networking level and sharing business opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, we were the first chamber to do that. And it took some of the chambers till just about near the end to go virtual. So I think that is going to go a long ways towards having the vitality in our business community that we're looking for. So coming out of COVID, you're starting to do some events now.
We are. We're back to meeting in person for our Connection Breakfast, which is our largest monthly networking event. And that is typically the first Friday of the month. This month, October 1st, yesterday, it was outdoors at Food Share. And so it was really great to see a good group of people coming back together, being safe. We had a lot of safety protocols in place, doing some additional steps to make sure that people feel comfortable gathering again.
The breakfast that was yesterday at Food Share, I'm going to tell you straight out, I was a little bit concerned about that one, because in the past we've done it inside of one of their warehouses in an aisle. So you think Food Share, big warehouses, there's lots of space, but there really wasn't a lot of space at that location.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit concerned, but I knew that you were limiting attendance as best you could. But when you sent out the email that was saying it was going to be outdoors, I says, oh, okay, I feel much better about going to that. And I got to say that it was a very good event. It was really nice. And the outdoors, the weather couldn't have been better for that.
Chamber of Commerce weather.
Chamber of Commerce weather, exactly.
Well, I also wanted to share that Jeff and I had a conversation right before the email went out, and we said, okay, we know we take our precautions to ensure that wherever we go, that we're not putting anyone at risk, but also because we have loved ones that we don't want to put at risk,
Right.
we take those precautions. And one of the things that Jeff, and I want to share this with both of you, one of the things Jeff said is, I trust the chamber, and they're going to do whatever they can to keep us safe. So even though we're going to take precautions at all times, I'm sure it's above and beyond what they've already thought of. So I wanted you to know this because as a longtime business community member, I think it speaks volumes for somebody like Jeff to have that much trust in you.
Well, we appreciate that, and we don't take that responsibility lightly. We've had a number of discussions and continue to have those discussions because it's serious, and not everyone is in the same space. Everyone's circumstance is different. We have to respect those differences and embrace those differences and be inclusive as we can. So I think that, one of the things that kind of breaks my heart through this pandemic is all of the angst that has been caused by the mask, no mask,
Yeah.
vaccine, no vaccine. I encourage people to do what's best for them and engage however they feel most comfortable.
I agree. But I want to know what's coming up. I want to know what we can
Exciting
look forward
stuff.
to. Yeah.
In fact, this week, October 7th, this Thursday, we'll be back in person for our first business expo in 2 years. And this is one of our most beloved events. We have typically 70 plus vendors of our members that come in to display what they do and talk about who they are. We bring in the public, we bring in the business community, our chamber members for a really great event. And it's at the 4 Point Sheraton. There are food vendors there. We have this year, I think you mentioned Aloha Steakhouse earlier. Aloha Steakhouse is one of everyone's favorite date nights. Well, Aloha will be there. Also, Water's Edge Restaurant, which I'm surprised didn't come up on your poll, but Water's Edge over at the harbor. And then the Greek, Mediterranean steak and seafood. And then on the little sweet treats, we have Lisa Morris with Limor Cakes. We'll be having samples of cupcakes, and I think sometimes she brings her very famous habanero sugar cookies as well.
Okay, so that day we have to run another mile.
That's right. There's definitely an extra amount of
Yeah.
walking involved.
Yeah.
But we're going to be on our feet for 4 hours.
But
So.
Spence is not counting that.
But, okay. We'll add a mile.
Wonderful. Well, we know that one of the things that everyone looks forward to with these expos is the fact that there's a theme. Tell us about this year's theme.
So the theme for this expo is the haunting at the harbor. It's October. We're all gearing up for Halloween. I know in my neighborhood, lots of little displays and decorations have shown up. So we do encourage folks to dress up. We also encourage booth decoration. And we do reward that with some bragging rights. We have a certificate that's issued for the best booth and the best costume. And it's tough competition.
It is.
We have a group of anonymous judges that walk throughout the event, and it is tough. We do not always come to a unanimous decision.
So I'm going to share the one idea I came up with that Jeff said no. And then we brought it to, office, meaning like mom and dad, as they're part of our company. We said, let's see if they're going to like the idea. And they said no. So I'm going to share it with you because I still think it's amazing. I want it to be the Care Bears because we care about your
that's
orientations.
cute.
We care about your handbooks. We care about your terminations. We're just caring. And they all said no.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Isn't that like a phenomenal idea?
I think it's a great idea.
I don't remember saying no. I thought it was a matter of they weren't going to get here in time.
Oh, I love the backtracking now. No. I heard a no, no, no. And I thought, oh, back to the drawing board. And it's the one time that I actually came up with something that I want. Yes, that's going to be an easy in.
Well, if the Care Bears were a no, I can't wait to see what did make the cut.
Well, I don't know if we know yet. That was
I'm
the
sure
only
it'll be
idea.
great. I'm sure it'll be great. Yeah, so we have a lot of great businesses. We have some new businesses that are coming. New to the chamber is the Buenaventura Art Association, which is over at Bell Arts. And they do the first Fridays, and they have a number of different artists that are a part of that. So that's a lot of fun. We also have a new business called World of Play, which is a toddler play space. And it's over on the East End. So I know that we hear a lot about needing more services and things over on the East End. So that is an East End business. And then some of the fan favorites that are back again year after year is Top This Chocolate. If you haven't been to Top This Chocolate out at the harbor, they make custom chocolate bars, again, just in time for Halloween, right? Mm-hmm. And then Ronald Reagan Library. And, that's always a fascinating one. They've gone through some tough times as well, being shut down during the pandemic, but they are back up and running, and they have a great new exhibit over there. And then something that I think is kind of fun, everybody's talking about cars, right? How to get new cars. They're in short supply. Well, Ford of Ventura is bringing one of their brand new Broncos. So you'll be able to check that out as well.
Are they going to let us do test drives?
I don't know that they'll do test drives, but you can definitely sit in the driver's seat and see what it feels like and, play with all the knobs and bells and whistles and then
and sanitize in between.
Yeah, yes. And then you can book a test drive probably with them.
So my BFF has been very quiet. And I have to tell you, the last expo that I could remember that I still, it's one of my favorites. We almost destroyed JR Bookkeeping's booth because we were so competitive. The cup stacking. So,
yeah, you cheated.
No, I did not cheat.
You definitely cheated.
No, didn't cheat. I just won. There's a difference.
Ouch.
Yes.
Ouch.
So what this means, though, is that JR Bookkeeping's generally always there with some really fun activities. So I'm challenging you right now on air. Meet me there, and we're going to definitely have another showdown.
Yeah, whether they have a game or not, we'll make one out of her
That's
booth.
Right.
That'll
That's
be fun. There's also the photo booth,
Ooh.
so we have to get pictures.
Yes.
That will be fun.
Because regardless of who wins, like me,
we're still good.
We're still good.
I don't know. If you beat me again, I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm
Okay.
I'm so excited.
I have another BFF ready to go.
Ouch. Yeah, we're so excited to bring Expo back. It's been so long, and this is one of our very favorite events. So I can't wait to see everyone there on Thursday from 4 to 7 at 4 Point Sheraton, Ventura Harbor.
Okay, Ashley, so while you're on the mic and you've so gracefully booted Stephanie from behind the mic, tell us how we could get a hold of the chamber.
You can probably email is the best thing at this point. Ashley at ventura-chamber.org or Stephanie at ventura-chamber.org. They're both spelled normally, so no confusion there. We do have an office line as well. It's 805-643-7222, but like so many, we are out and about and working, so email or you can always reach us. If you call the office, you'll get our cell phone numbers on the message machine as well if you want to reach out to us directly. We're easy to find.
Awesome. So thank you guys for coming on. We love the chamber. I've been a member of the chamber for 16, 17 years now, through First Anchor Printing and now with Rosandra at the HR firm. And if you're not a chamber member, you need to join because it's all about business advocacy. They advocate for business, so you need to be a chamber member if you're a business owner. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fun with HR is brought to you by Atharva Workforce. You can reach them at 805-826-0033. Let the professionals at Atharva Workforce find your next diamond in the rough.
If you have employees, then it is your responsibility to keep them safe. That means written rules and procedures and processes all in place. If you don't have an illness and injury prevention program, a COVID prevention program, safety program, or emergency action plan, you could have Cal OSHA knocking on your door with a notice of violation and fines in hand. But don't worry, you're not on your own. The HR firm can walk you through the safety maze to get your company compliant, all while helping you keep your employees safe. And remember, these need to be written and distributed to employees. They offer a complimentary 1-hour consultation for new clients. As your local HR consultant, they're just a phone call away. For more information, contact them at info@thehrfirm.com or at 805-835-3476. The HR Firm, because if you have employees, you have issues. Finding people to add to your team can be difficult when you don't know where to start. Do you even have a job description? Do you know how much you should be paying them? Do you even know where to find the right people for your team? Let the professionals at Atharva Workforce help you get started and find your next star employee. Spend time on your business, not searching for that new star employee. Call Atharva Workforce at 805-826-0033.
Welcome back. So we are going to be speaking next with Pat Pothier, who just happens to be one of our Pink Musketeers. So if you're on Facebook Live, you could see now the room has gone pink because literally 2 out of the 4 people in here are wearing pink. Pat, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. We wanted to first and foremost let you talk about your hypnotherapy, but then I want to focus on the Pink Musketeers because, as you know, cause it's very close to all of our hearts, but we definitely want to get the opportunity for you and Jeff to tell us what we can look forward to for the next month.
Yeah. Every day we're going to be wearing pink. So if you see us around town, please come talk to us a little bit. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're really going to be focused on doing a little bit of fundraising. We really want to raise funds so that we can help the American Cancer Society not only become aware of breast cancer, but also start to prevent it even more. Breast cancer has actually been diagnosed as the number 1 cancer. It actually surpassed lung cancer last year as the number 1 diagnosed cancer. But it's also the cancer that's being prevented. Numbers are indicating that it's down 41% because of early diagnosis. So we, as part of the Men in Pink, are trying to bring additional awareness to that. And so you'll see us around town. We'll be wearing pink every day this month. And then we're even talking about wearing it occasionally in November and December because of COVID. We can't do all the great things that we normally do. So we're going to extend it a couple of months past that. So you'll see us as well. But in October, every day we'll be wearing pink.
So you mentioned some of the things that are awesome that you've done in the past. Tell me about some of those.
So some of the things that we've done in the past and we are going to continue to do this year, Strides Walk. Strides Walk is going to be held out at the Harbor on October 9th. So if you have a chance, you want to come out there and support that particular effort. It's going to be on October 9th, and they do a walk and they raise funds, and it's really a great event. In case you don't know where it is, it's right at the end of Spinnaker, across the street from Harbor Cove Cafe. It'll be in that big parking lot over there. So we're really looking forward to that as well. And then some additional items that we haven't done in the past, but we are going to do this year, is that we'll be highly visible at the Veterans Day Car Show that we're going to hold on November 14th. That's going to be a great event. We're going to hold that in the O'Leary's parking lot, which is on Telephone and Hill Street. It's going to be on November 14th. That isn't Veterans Day. Yes, I know. Veterans Day actually falls on a Thursday, so we're going to do this car show on a Sunday. So come on out there. Men in Pink will be highly visible. We're also going to do a comedy night this year. So Dr. Ron Atney is actually working on that, and he's trying to secure Veterans Day, 11/11, as the date that he does comedy night down in the harbor. So that's going to be a fun event as well.
Wow. And that's when you don't have a lot to do. So I know that in the past we have really enjoyed the whiskey tastings, the virtual whiskey tastings. We also did paint night, not virtually, but we actually met before COVID, of course, and we painted wine glasses and then drank wine out of them. And
well, you have to do that,
well,
right?
Yeah. And then one of the things that I know Jeff has been in talks with some of our local restaurants is maybe like a virtual cooking class, so we know how to be, shall we say, healthy, as well as let's face it, at our home, I don't cook. I will try at least once a year, but we found very quick that scallops do not need to be cooked for 30 minutes. So Jeff took over.
Yeah, so you guys had Jay Bart on just recently.
Yes.
Plant-Based for Life. She's been talking to me a lot about eating the right kinds of foods to help prevent cancer.
Wonderful.
So we're going to be focused on that this month as well. So a virtual cooking class would be outstanding.
Yes. And of course, the reason why I wanted you to kind of reminisce about some of these things and kind of have people look forward to some of the others is because I keep hearing the same thing in November and December, and after we're posting about how much fun these events are, and people keep going, oh my gosh, if I'd only known, if I only would have thought, I wanted to do this. Well, today, now, this year especially, is a time when that's not going to really even be an issue, because we're giving you plenty of time.
Yep.
And we're saying, if you've missed out on something, come join us.
Absolutely. Come out and have a lot of fun, and join us in the fundraising. Even if you don't donate dollars, if you donate time, it just helps all around. Because unfortunately, 268,000 women are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer this year. Believe it or not, it's not just a woman's disease. 2,700 men are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer this year. So that's about 13% of women nationwide, and 1% of men are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer. So we want to really bring this to the attention of the public, because it is the one cancer that we can get past. Mm-hmm. It can be taken care of. So early diagnosis is the key.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know one of the things that Jeff does, and you've seen us just take pictures here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he does is he posts every day something. And the reason he does that is because he mentioned that it keeps it front of mind for people. But I want to have him share what he shared just yesterday as to why he does this.
Well, yeah, we were talking about, why I do this. And I'm a cancer survivor, and I want to see a cure to cancer. And I firmly believe if we could find a cure to one cancer, that the rest are going to just snowball after that. Because the key is, how do you stop one? And then from there, our medical science is at a point where it could probably solve the rest. So
this year is also going to be a little bit different. Thank you, Jeff, because there's no patches. There's, some of the things that we've become very aware of.
Right.
And Mr. McGreevy is retired.
He is, but actually he has an officer that took over his spot on the Oxnard Police Department. So we're going to go full force on this. This is really important. And as Jess was saying, it's personal to him. It's very personal to me. My wife, Junebug, was diagnosed with breast cancer 6 years ago. And I became a caregiver immediately and got involved in all of this. And that journey is difficult by oneself, never mind a couple. And so after 5 years, she was finally diagnosed cancer-free, which was just a godsend to all of us. But she had early diagnosis, and so she was able to get into some treatment really quick. But when she was told she was cancer-free, she turned to me and she said, "I'm going to go get a cancer ribbon tattoo." And I said, "My God, we're over 60 years old. Neither one of us has tattoos yet. What are you thinking?" And she said, "I'm getting a tattoo." And I said, "If you get the tattoo, I'm going to get the tattoo." So we did.
There you go.
Look
So
at
love
you.
it, Pat.
Yeah. So, I was in the Army early in my career, and then I joined a corporate. Never had a tattoo. Never had one. But when Junebug says we're getting tattoos, we're getting tattoos. So very personal.
Was the Army where you first came across hypnotherapy?
It is not, actually. I came out of the Army, joined corporate. I was in corporate. I was in the top 5, I think, Fortune 10 companies for 38 years. I was their director of medical marketing. And they called me one day and they said, "Hey, after 38 years, we're moving your office to Dallas." And I said, "I don't want to go to Dallas." And they said, "Well, since you have over 30 years, if you want, you can actually retire." So at the young age, I did. Actually retired after 38 years with this company. And I put the word out over social media that I was looking to see if I could help people become the best they could be. I didn't want to do telecom anymore.
Sure.
And actually a school here in Camarillo reached out to me and said, hey, have you ever thought about hypnotherapy? And I said, no, I don't want to do hypnotherapy. I mean, I know that cluck like a chicken, bark like a dog thing. And they said, no, you don't understand. That's entertainment hypnotherapy. There's purposeful hypnotherapy as well. And I got involved that way. I went to the school. I did the whole 2-hour interview that you were talking about. And I got enthralled with it. And at the time, you probably recall, veterans were having a hard time with PTSD.
Yeah.
In fact, 22 veterans a day commit suicide because of PTSD. And I said, man, I can help this. I can really help this because I could relate to them because I was a veteran and I could get to them. And went here to the Vietnam veterans of Ventura and talked to them and actually started seeing some of those veterans on a weekly basis and helping them with trauma and overcoming that. So that's how I got involved in hypnotherapy.
How has COVID affected your practice?
My practice actually died. It actually did. It probably dropped 70 to 80% because people weren't working. And so they had a choice. They're going to put food on the table or they're going to take medication instead of coming to see a therapist. So it actually slowed way, way, way down. I kind of pivoted. Instead of doing in-person hypnotherapy, I started doing over-the-phone hypnotherapy. So now it's starting to come back a little bit. I'm probably about 50 or 60% of where my business was pre-COVID.
But, there's a lot of nonprofits out there that are probably grateful for what happened because, Pat, I got to say, you're the one guy in Ventura County that has a giver's heart because I just see you doing so much for the Lions and other nonprofits. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your nonprofit work?
Well, thank you, Jeff, because I know you're part of one as well, the Rotary Club. We're actually starting to do some joint ventures between the Lions and the Rotary because we do want to give back to this community. So I am a Ventura Downtown Lions, and what we want to do is just give back to the community because there are so many needs throughout Ventura County specifically, and so we want to help with that. We want to try to help people fundraise, pay for things, just get things going. So we have a bunch of events that we've got on the calendar. Happy to answer any of those. But it's a fun time. And, when you give back to the community, it actually makes your heart happy. And that's what's so important because you start to feel good about helping people. We have this, and Spence knows about this because he's come down and visited us a couple of times. We have a free eye clinic downtown Ventura, and it's a joint venture with the Rotary Club right there at the Salvation Army off of Oak Street. Every Tuesday morning from 8 o'clock until 11, we provide free eye exams and free glasses.
Do you need frames?
We do need frames. We absolutely need frames. So if you have glasses that
We
you're
have
getting
a
rid of,
bag, like we're talking a grocery store full.
perfect. We'll take it.
Wonderful.
Definitely take it. And when you do the eye clinic, like I do every Tuesday, when people come in and pick up their glasses and they put them on for the first time and they go, "Oh my God, that is beautiful!" They're actually seeing something for the first time.
Yeah.
It is your heart just bursts through your chest.
Yeah, I might have to contact downtown and
just take.
get out there and.
Just take
Or
the
I'll
stuff.
just contact Pat.
Yeah.
That'll
There you
probably
go.
be easier. Give it to Pat.
Yeah, just give them to me. I'll take them.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I know you're involved in many things, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to come here, and I want to invite you throughout the month to please stop in.
Absolutely, I'll do it.
because we definitely want people to understand that it's not a once a year thing. It's really a year round thing, and it's just that we're talking a little bit more about it this month than any other month.
Right.
But I love the enthusiasm, and I love the fact that you're involved in so many other aspects that I think that's really why we decided to have fun with HR. We wanted to definitely have people come on and talk to us about what's going on.
I'm being distracted here. Spence has his Facebook up, and he's got an old picture of a real Ventura Pink photo shoot probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, Pink
Yeah.
Musketeers from 2 years ago.
No
Looks
pictures
good.
this year?
No pictures this year yet. We're still working on that.
Yeah.
I told Jeff that, of course, it's Jeff's thing, but I support him 100%. And so I said, hey, if you guys need pictures, let's just set it up. I'm sure there's many photographers that would love to just get involved. And this is their little way of being, it's a big thing, but it's what they can give.
Yeah, we in the past have used Bonnie Mercadani from Soft Touch Photography, and she has volunteered her time. It's just that the Real Men Wear Pink need to get together and pick a date and go out there and get our pictures taken, and then we'll start posting them all over Facebook and social media.
We got to get our act together.
Yes, we do.
Say.
This COVID thing really put a wrench on a lot of things.
Yeah, including meeting together.
But
Absolutely.
it's amazing, though, right? COVID happened, but cancer still happens. And it didn't stop that. It just kind of made it go a little bit to the side, and our focus became something else.
Right.
So it's time for us to kind of
Circle back.
Circle back, and again, very personal to us, very personal, I'm sure, to a lot of our listeners. And and when I say that, it's my mom and dad. I swear, mom and dad are listening. But
Hi, Mom and Dad.
But one of the things that I want to remind everyone is that this is the time. Don't wait to get involved. You can not only get involved by helping on a specific project. You can get involved by showing up and participating in one of the events. You can donate. The whole point is, and I think Spence has said this time and time again, just get involved.
Yeah, and I would suggest that people, because during the COVID, the pandemic, a lot of people put off their doctor's appointments, right? Don't do that. Please don't do that, especially when it comes to mammograms. Go and get those early diagnoses, get those exams done. That's how June figured. She just went for a normal exam. She does it every year, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden this time it came up and she had four instances. BBs across her, so we had to take care of it.
So tell us how people could get a hold of you, Pat.
The easiest way to get a hold of me is to either go through PothierHypnotherapy.com or call me on my cell phone, 818-468-0777.
Awesome. It was great having you on, Pat.
Thank you.
And we'll have you back a few times during the month to give us
An update.
Updates. Yes,
Yeah.
updates. And there we go. Another hour, Rosandra.
I know that went quick.
Very quick.
It's always quick.
It's always fast.
Because
but
we're
this week
hanging
was
out with our
particularly
friends.
fast. Fun with HR is brought to you by the professionals at the HR firm and Atharva Workforce. We take care of each other so we can grow together. Until next week, have a great week, everybody.